The wind howled across the frozen ruins of what was once a magnificent palace. Jin Woo pulled his thermal jacket tighter around his body as he stepped through the broken archway. Ice crystals covered everything like a blanket of diamonds. But there was no beauty in this place anymore. Only cold. Only silence. 3 weeks had passed since the evacuation. 3 weeks since his unit left him behind on this frozen rock called Kelvar Prime. They hadn't meant to abandon him. He knew that. The enemy ships had come too fast. The evacuation shuttles were full. Someone had to stay behind to buy time for the others to escape. Jin Woo had volunteered. That was what soldiers did. But he hadn't been alone when the last shuttle left. Queen Vara, of the Velith Empire, had been there too. Wounded and betrayed by her own people. While everyone else ran for the ships, Jin Woo had found her bleeding in the throne room. He could have left her. Should have left her. Probably. But something in her eyes stopped him. A look he recognized from his own mirror on bad days. The look of someone who had given everything and received nothing in return. So he stayed. He carried her to the medical bay and put her in one of the regeneration pods her people used for healing. The pod hummed with emergency power, keeping her alive while her body slowly repaired itself. Jin Woo didn't understand the alien technology completely, but he knew enough to keep it running. Now he spent his days searching the abandoned city for supplies. Food was running low. His military rations would last maybe another week if he was careful. The alien food storage facilities were empty, cleaned out when Vara's people evacuated. They had taken everything with them. Jin Woo's boots crunched on the ice as he made his way to the eastern district. He had searched most of the palace already, but the city was huge. Somewhere in this frozen maze, there had to be something useful. He found it 2 hours later in what looked like a military bunker. The door had been sealed, but the locking mechanism was frozen solid. Jin Woo used his plasma cutter to burn through it. Inside, he found stacks of supply crates marked with Velith symbols he couldn't read. He opened the first crate carefully. Inside were ration packs, similar to human ones but in strange colors. Jin Woo grabbed one and studied it. The label showed a picture of some kind of grain. He decided to risk it and took a small bite. It tasted like cardboard mixed with cinnamon. Not great, but not terrible either. More importantly, it didn't make him sick. He loaded as many ration packs as he could carry into his backpack. The second crate contained data tablets. Jin Woo activated one and was surprised when it displayed text in human standard language. Vara's people had translation software. He began to read, and what he found made his blood run cold. The documents were evacuation orders. But they weren't just orders to leave quickly because of danger. They were detailed instructions to erase all navigation data, to destroy communication relays, to make absolutely certain that Queen Vara could never find her way back home. Jin Woo kept reading. More files revealed. Meeting transcripts. Council debates. Political arguments. The truth emerged piece by piece like a horrible puzzle. Vara hadn't been abandoned by accident. She had been overthrown. Her own council had voted to remove her from power. The reason was clear in the documents. The Velith Empire had been invited to join something called the Coalition of United Worlds. It was a military alliance, powerful and growing. But there was a price for membership. The coalition wanted the Velith to help destroy several smaller civilizations that refused to join. Vara had said no. She called it genocide. She refused to order her people to commit mass murder just to gain powerful friends. So her council had made the choice for her. They voted to join the coalition. They voted to remove Vara from the throne. And when the evacuation came, they made sure she would be left behind to die on this frozen planet. Jin Woo sat down hard on a supply crate. He had thought Vara was a casualty of war, someone caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. He hadn't known she was a political exile. He hadn't known her people had wanted her dead. He looked at the ration packs in his bag. He should save these for himself. Vara's pod was feeding her intravenously. She didn't need solid food yet. Every ration he gave her was one less for his own survival. But Jin Woo had never been good at the smart choice when it conflicted with the right choice. He made his way back to the palace as the twin suns began to set. The temperature would drop below survivable levels soon. He needed to be inside before full dark. Vara was awake when he arrived. She sat up slowly in the pod, her silver skin still marked with healing scars. Her eyes, large and dark like pools of oil, focused on him as he entered. "You came back," she said. Her voice was soft, musical even when speaking human standard. "Where else would I go?" Jinwoo set down his pack and pulled out 2 ration packs. He offered her one. "Dinner?" "One." Vara looked at the pack, then at him. "This is your food. You should not waste it on me." "I found more," Jinwoo said. He didn't mention the documents. "Not yet. Besides, we're in this together now." "Why?" Vara asked. The question hung in the cold air between them. "Why did you stay? Your people left. You could have gone with them." Jinwoo sat down on the floor across from her pod. He opened his ration pack and took a bite before answering. "Someone once told me that honor isn't about following orders. It's about doing what's right when no one is watching." "Who told you this?" "My father. He was a soldier too." Jinwoo smiled at the memory. He said that the measure of a man isn't how he acts when people are cheering for him. It's what he does when everyone has left and the lights are out. Vara opened her ration pack slowly. She ate in silence for a moment. Then she spoke again. "Your father was wise." "Lok 70? He was stubborn," Jinwoo corrected. "There's a difference. Perhaps stubbornness and wisdom are not so different." Vara's lips curved in what might have been a smile. "You stayed with a dying alien queen when you could have saved yourself. That is either very wise or very stubborn." "Probably both," Jinwoo admitted. They ate together in comfortable silence. Outside, the wind continued to howl. The temperature continued to drop, but inside the medical bay, 2 beings from different worlds shared a meal and found something neither had expected: hope. Jinwoo's communicator beeped suddenly. He grabbed it, his heart racing. 3 weeks of silence, and now this. He activated the device and saw the signal strength indicator flashing. Someone was responding to his distress beacon. "We're saved," he breathed. But Vara's expression darkened as she looked at the communicator screen. "Jinwoo," she said carefully. "That signal signature. It is not human." Jinwoo's relief turned to ice. He checked the readings again. She was right. The ship approaching Kelvar Prime was not a Terran Defense Corps vessel. It was Velith, and it was coming fast. The Velith ship landed in the palace courtyard 3 hours after Jinwoo detected it. He watched from a broken window on the 2nd floor as the landing ramps descended. 3 figures emerged, moving with the practiced efficiency of trained killers. Bounty hunters. Jinwoo had seen enough of them during the war to recognize the type. They wore mismatched armor painted in dark colors, and each carried weapons that looked well used and well maintained. "They are here to confirm I am dead," Vara whispered beside him. She had insisted on leaving the medical bay despite still being weak. "My sister wants to be certain." "Your sister?" Jinwoo kept his eyes on the hunters below. "Narration. She leads the council now." Vara's voice was bitter. "She always wanted the throne. I simply made it easier for her by refusing to become a monster." Jinwoo had moved Vara to a defensible position deeper in the palace. Now he checked the weapons he had scavenged over the past weeks. 2 Velith plasma rifles that he barely understood, 1 human service pistol with half a charge pack left, and a collection of alien grenades that might explode or might just make colorful sparks. He honestly wasn't sure. "Can you fight?" he asked Vara. "I can think," she replied. "And I know their tactics." "That will have to be enough." "I think it beams 70s. The bounty hunters split up. One stayed with the ship, while the other 2 entered the palace through the main entrance. Jinwoo could hear their heavy footsteps echoing through the frozen halls. "They will search the throne room first," Vara said. "It is where they expect to find my body." "Good, that gives us time." Jinwoo positioned himself behind a fallen pillar. "How do these plasma rifles work exactly?" Vera moved to his side and placed her hands over his, adjusting his grip on the weapon. The blue crystal must align with the targeting sensor. See this line? When it glows green, the weapon is ready. Pull the trigger smoothly, not jerky. Got it. Jinwoo aimed down the corridor. What about shields? Do they have shields? Personal shields. Yes. But they have a weakness. Vara pointed to a control panel on the wall. The palace security system still has minimal power. If you activate it, the energy pulse will overload their shields for approximately 10 seconds. 10 seconds isn't much. It is enough for a skilled shooter. Vara looked at him directly. Are you a skilled shooter, Jinwoo? He thought about his weapons scores in training. Average. Solidly average. Nothing special. But he also thought about Taeho. His best friend, who had been the best shot in the unit. Taeho had always said that shooting wasn't about perfection. It was about not hesitating when the moment came. I'm good enough, Jinwoo said. The bounty hunter's footsteps grew closer. Jinwoo could hear them talking in the Velith language, their voices harsh and businesslike. Vara translated in whispers. They say the palace appears abandoned. They are wondering if someone already claimed the bounty. 8. One of the hunters appeared at the end of the corridor. He was tall, even for a Velith, with scarred silver skin and eyes that scanned the area like a predator searching for prey. His armor was dark red, and his weapon was already raised. Jinwoo held his breath. The hunter walked closer, examining the ice-covered floor for tracks. Any second now, he would see them. Vara reached past Jinwoo and pressed a sequence of buttons on the wall panel. The palace security system hummed to life, with a sound like a giant taking a breath. The hunter's shield flickered and died. His eyes widened in surprise. Jinwoo pulled the trigger. The plasma rifle kicked harder than he expected. But his aim was true. The bolt of superheated energy caught the hunter in the chest, and he went down without a sound. 9 seconds left, Vara said calmly. Jinwoo was already moving. He ran down the corridor, grabbed the fallen hunter's weapon, and dove behind a corner just as the second hunter appeared. Plasma bolts scorched the wall, where Jinwoo had been standing a moment before. Human! The second hunter shouted in broken human standard. You die now. Get in line, Jinwoo muttered. He blind fired around the corner, not expecting to hit anything but hoping to keep the hunter pinned down. His shield is back online, Vara called out. You need to get close. Closer than his shield can block. Jinwoo looked at the alien grenade in his hand. Close-range weapon. Probably, he hoped. He threw it as hard as he could around the corner and pressed himself flat against the wall. The explosion was smaller than he expected, but much brighter. The flash of light was blinding even with his eyes closed. When he looked again, the second hunter was staggering, disoriented by the blast. Jinwoo didn't think. He just ran forward and slammed into the hunter with his full body weight. They crashed to the ground together. The hunter was stronger, but Jinwoo was angrier. He grabbed the hunter's helmet and smashed it against the frozen floor once, twice, 3 times until the Velith stopped moving. Jinwoo stood up, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. 2 down. 1 to go. The third one will be at the ship, Vara said. She had moved down the corridor to join him. He heard the fighting. He will be ready. Can we get to their ship? If we can take it, we can escape this planet. Vara looked at him. But the third hunter is named Rix. I know of him. He is the most dangerous of the 3. Jinwoo picked up weapons from the fallen hunters. Then we'd better be smart about this. They made their way to the courtyard carefully. Jinwoo could see the ship through the broken windows. The third hunter, Rix, stood at the base of the landing ramp with a massive weapon that looked like it could punch holes in buildings. We cannot fight him directly, Vara said. That weapon will destroy us. Jinwoo studied the courtyard. Ice covered everything. The palace walls were crumbling, and there, above the ship, was a massive decorative arch that looked like it was barely holding together. I have an idea, he said. But you're not going to like it. I have not liked anything about this day so far, Vara replied. Tell me. Jinwoo explained his plan. Vara listened, and her expression shifted from doubt to understanding, to something that might have been respect. "You are insane," she said. "I'm human," Jinwoo corrected. "There's a difference." He positioned himself at a window with a clear shot at the arch supports. Vara moved to the opposite side of the courtyard, making herself visible to draw Rix's attention. "Rix!" she called out in the Velith language. Jinwoo didn't need a translation to understand the tone. She was taunting him. Rix spun toward her voice, his weapon raised. "The dead queen speaks," he shouted back. "Come out and die properly this time." "I am already dead," Vara replied. "You are too late to collect your bounty. Then I will take your head as proof." Rix started moving toward Vara's position. Jinwoo aimed carefully at the arch supports. The old stone was already cracked from age and ice. It wouldn't take much. He fired once, twice, 3 times. The arch groaned. Rix looked up just in time to see tons of ancient stone falling toward him. He tried to run, but the arch was too big, and he was too slow. The stone crashed down, burying both Rix and half of his ship under rubble. Jinwoo and Vara waited in silence. Nothing moved in the debris. After a long minute, they heard a groan. Jinwoo approached carefully. Weapon ready. Rix was pinned under a massive stone, his legs trapped, and his weapon broken. But he was alive. "Human," Rix gasped when he saw Jinwoo. "Why? Why defend her?" Jinwoo knelt down beside the trapped hunter. "Because she's worth defending." Rix laughed, which turned into a cough. "You are a fool. She is nothing now. Less than nothing. Her own sister rules the empire. Narai has made the Velith strong enough to murder innocents." Vara appeared beside Jinwoo. "Strong enough to break every code our people held sacred?" "Codes are for the weak," Rix spat. "Nari understands power." "You never did." Vara knelt down and looked Rix in the eyes. "Tell me everything. Who leads the council now? What alliance did my sister make? What is she planning?" Rix tried to laugh again, but the pain was too much. "Pull me out, and I will tell you." Jinwoo and Vara worked together to shift the stone enough to free Rix's legs. They were broken, but he would live. "Talk," Jinwoo said. Rix talked, and what they learned made everything worse. The bounty hunter's ship was damaged but functional. Jinwoo sat in the pilot's chair, staring at the FTL communicator like it might bite him. Beside him, Vara worked on extracting data from the ship's computer core, while Rix lay in the back, secured and sedated. "This is what you wanted," Vara said without looking up from her work. "A way to contact your people. You should be happy." Jinwoo drummed his fingers on the console. "Yeah, happy. But you are not. It's complicated." Jinwoo pulled up the communication interface. The screen showed a list of contact frequencies, including several for human military channels. One button press, and he could call for help. One message and this nightmare would be over. Except it wouldn't be over. Not for Vara. "What did Rix tell you?" Jinwoo asked. "About your sister's plans." Vara's hands stilled on the keyboard. "Nare has allied the Velith Empire with the Coalition of United Worlds. In exchange for military support, the Coalition has promised us new territories and resources. But there is a price. There's always a price. The price is genocide." Vara's voice was flat, emotionless. The way people sound when the emotion is too big to let out. 3 independent human colonies in the Outer Rim. The Coalition wants them destroyed. As a show of Velith commitment, Nare has agreed. Jinwoo felt his stomach turn to ice. "Which colonies?" "New Seoul, Busan Station, Daegu Prime." Those weren't just colonies. They were home to millions of people. Jinwoo had friends from New Seoul. Taeho's family lived on Busan Station. "When?" he asked. "The attack fleet assembles in 2 months." Vara finally looked at him. "I am sorry, Jinwoo. I know what those places mean to your people." Jinwoo stood up and paced the small cabin. His mind raced through possibilities, strategies, options. He needed to warn someone. He needed to get this information to military command immediately, but if he sent that message, human forces would come for them. They would rescue him, yes. But what would they do with Vara? An alien queen, with detailed knowledge of enemy plans? She wouldn't be treated as a person. She would be treated as an intelligence asset. A source to be exploited. You should send your message, Vara said quietly. Your people need to know. And what happens to you? That is not important. Millions of lives are at stake. Jinwoo stopped pacing and looked at her. It's important to me. Vara met his gaze for a long moment. Something passed between them. Unspoken but understood. Trust. Respect. Maybe something more. Then what do you suggest? She asked. Jinwoo sat down at the communicator again. I have a friend, Hannah. She was my squad leader before all this happened. If I can reach her directly, she might be able to help without going through official channels. You trust her? With my life. Jinwoo began entering an encryption code that only his old unit would recognize. She's tough, she's smart, and she doesn't follow stupid orders just because they're orders. He sent the message on a tight beam transmission, coded and compressed. Then, they waited. While they waited, Vara continued working on the ship's data core. What she found made their situation even more complicated. Jinwoo, you need to see this. He moved to her station. The screen showed star charts, fleet movements, supply routes. It was a complete intelligence picture of the Coalition's military structure. This is everything, Vara said. Ship positions, commander names, supply schedules, communication codes. With this information, your military could cripple the Coalition's operations. How did Rix have all this? He did not. It was in the ship's navigation computer, meant for regular updates to bounty hunter networks. Vara scrolled through the files. The Coalition shares this information with its allies. They never imagined it would fall into enemy hands. Jinwoo understood immediately. This wasn't just intelligence. This was a weapon. In the right hands, this data could save thousands of lives, maybe millions. In the wrong hands, it could make Vara a target for every intelligence agency in human space. The communicator beeped. Jinwoo's heart jumped. He activated it and Hana's face appeared on the screen. She looked older than he remembered, more tired. War did that to people. Jinwoo, you crazy bastard, she said. Everyone thought you were dead. I'm hard to kill, apparently. Jinwoo tried to smile. Listen, Hana, I need help, but this has to stay quiet. Hana's expression shifted to serious. Talk to me. Jinwoo explained everything. The evacuation, finding Vara, the bounty hunters, what they had learned about the Coalition's plans. Hana listened without interrupting, which was how Jinwoo knew she understood how serious this was. When he finished, Hana was quiet for a long moment. You know what will happen if you bring her in, right? Hana finally said. Military intelligence will lock her in a room and pick her brain until there's nothing left to pick. They won't care that she saved your life. They won't care that she's trying to do the right thing. I know. And you're asking me to help you anyway. I'm asking you to help me get her somewhere safe. Somewhere she can share what she knows without becoming a prisoner. Hana rubbed her eyes. Jinwoo, I can't promise that. I'm just a squad leader. I don't have that kind of authority. Then who does? Maybe Admiral Day 1. He's old school, cares about honor and doing things right. But I would have to go through Commander Yuna first. And she's... Hana trailed off. She's what? She's by the book. Strict regulations, no exceptions. She'll see Vara as an enemy asset first and a person second. Hana leaned closer to the screen. Jinwoo, I need you to understand something. When you didn't get on that evac shuttle, I reported you as a deserter. Jinwoo felt those words like a punch to the gut. You what? You disobeyed a direct order to evacuate. That's desertion in combat. I had to report it. Hana's voice was pained. I'm sorry. I thought you were dead anyway. I didn't think it would matter, but I'm not dead. No, you're not. Which means when you come back, you'll face a court-martial. Hana straightened her shoulders. But I'll fight for you. I'll tell them what you've found, what you've learned. Maybe it will be enough. Vara placed a hand on Jinwoo's shoulder. You do not have to do this. Send the intelligence data through secure channels. Stay here with the ship. By the time anyone comes looking, you can be gone. Jinwoo looked at the data on the screen. The fleet positions, the attack plans, the millions of lives that hung in the balance. Then he looked at Vara, at this alien queen who had lost everything because she refused to become a monster, who was willing to sacrifice herself to save people who weren't even her own. No, he said. We're not running. We're going to do this right. He turned back to Hana. Tell Commander Yuna we're coming in. Tell her we have intelligence about an imminent attack on human colonies. And tell her that Queen Vera of the Velith Empire is requesting political asylum. Hana nodded slowly. I'll tell her. But Jinwoo? Prepare yourself. This might not go the way you hope. Story of my life, Jinwoo said. The transmission ended. Jinwoo and Vara sat in the quiet cabin, listening to the hum of the ship's engines. Why are you doing this? Vara asked. You could save yourself. You could send the data and disappear. Why risk everything for me? Jinwoo thought about his father's words. About honor when no one is watching. About doing what's right, even when it's hard. Because someone has to, he said simply. Vara nodded, understanding. Then I will stand with you. Whatever comes. Jinwoo began plotting a course to the rendezvous coordinates Hana had sent. The journey would take 2 days. 2 days to prepare for what might be the biggest mistake of his life, or the best decision he ever made. He wasn't sure which yet, but he knew one thing for certain. He wasn't going to abandon Vara now. Not to her people, not to his own people, not to anyone. Some things were worth fighting for, even when the whole galaxy said you were wrong. Some things were worth believing in, even when belief was the hardest thing in the world. The human stealth ship appeared exactly when Hana said it would. Jinwoo watched it materialize on the view screen like a ghost becoming solid. Its dark hull barely visible against the stars. He had seen these ships before during the war. They were used for special operations, intelligence gathering, and retrieving valuable assets from behind enemy lines. He hoped Vara would be treated as valuable rather than dangerous. Are you ready? He asked her. Vara stood beside him, wearing a simple gray cloak they had found on the bounty hunter's ship. She looked smaller somehow, less like a queen and more like a refugee. But her spine was straight, and her head was high. I am ready, she said. They docked with the stealth ship without incident. The airlock opened and Jinwoo saw 4 armed soldiers waiting on the other side. Their weapons weren't pointed at him and Vara, but they weren't exactly lowered either. Private Jinwoo, one of them said. Commander Yuna wants to see you immediately. What about Queen Vara? She comes too. Commander's orders. They were escorted through narrow corridors to a briefing room. Commander Yuna waited inside, studying a datapad with intense focus. She was younger than Jinwoo expected, maybe 35. With sharp eyes and an expression that gave nothing away, Hana stood behind her, looking uncomfortable. Private Jinwoo, Commander Yuna said without looking up. You've caused quite a bit of trouble. I was just trying to survive, ma'am. By staying behind with an enemy combatant? Now Yuna looked at him. By failing to evacuate when ordered? By deserting your post? Jinwoo felt his jaw tighten. With respect, ma'am. I didn't desert. I stayed to complete the mission. The mission was to evacuate. You failed. The mission was to protect lives. I succeeded. Jinwoo gestured to Vara. Queen Vara has critical intelligence about an imminent coalition attack on 3 human colonies. Millions of lives are at stake. Yuna's gaze shifted to Vara. And we're supposed to trust information from an enemy alien? How convenient that she appears with warnings right when we capture her. You did not capture me, Vara said quietly. I surrendered voluntarily. There is a difference. Is there? Yuna stood and walked around the table. You're a deposed ruler with no power and no allies. You were left to die on a frozen planet. Now suddenly you're offering to help humanity? Forgive me if I'm skeptical. You should be skeptical, Vara agreed. Skepticism is wise. But examine the data we brought. Verify the intelligence. You will find it is accurate. Yuna looked at her datapad again. We've already begun verification. Preliminary analysis suggests your fleet positions are legitimate. She paused. Which makes you extremely valuable. Jinwoo didn't like the way she said valuable. Queen Vara is requesting political asylum, he said. As a political exile who opposed genocide, she deserves protection. What she deserves and what she'll receive are two different things. Yuna set down her datapad. Private Jinwoo. You don't seem to understand your situation. You're facing court-martial for desertion. You have no authority to make promises about asylum or protection. Then who does? I do. And I'm ordering that the Velith prisoner be taken to a secure facility for intensive interrogation. She's not a prisoner. Jinwoo stepped forward. She came here voluntarily to help us. Stand down, Private. Yuna's voice was cold. That's an order. Jinwoo looked at Hana. His former squad leader looked away. Shame written on her face. Vara placed a hand on Jinwoo's arm. It is all right. I knew this might happen. It's not all right, Jinwoo said. He turned back to Yuna. Commander, if you treat her like a prisoner, you're proving everything the Coalition says about us. That humans can't be trusted. That we betray our allies. She's not our ally. She's an intelligence asset. She's a person who risked everything to warn us about an attack. Doesn't that mean anything? It means she has information we need. Nothing more. Yuna signaled to the guards. Take the Velith to holding cell 3. Make sure she's comfortable but secure. The guards moved toward Vara. Jinwoo stepped between them. Move aside, Private, Yuna said. Don't make this worse. It can't get much worse. Jinwoo planted his feet. You want to arrest me for desertion? Fine. But leave her alone. Jinwoo. Stop. Vara's voice was gentle. Do not destroy yourself for me. Too late for that. Jinwoo looked at the guards. If you want to take her, you'll have to go through me. Jinwoo. Jinwoo. The briefing room door suddenly opened. Hana stood there with another person. Someone Jinwoo never expected to see. Taeho. His best friend was alive. Thinner than Jinwoo remembered. With a healing scar across his cheek. But alive. And behind him was someone even more unexpected. Admiral Day 1 himself. Everyone in the room immediately stood at attention. The Admiral was a legend. A man who had served in 3 wars and earned medals for courage and strategic brilliance. He was also known for being fair. At ease, the Admiral said. His voice was rough, like gravel. He looked around the room, his gaze settling on Jinwoo and Vara. So, this is the soldier who stayed behind, and the queen who was left behind. Admiral, sir, Commander Yuna began. I heard what you were doing, Commander. Day 1 walked closer to Vara. Your Majesty, I understand you opposed your people's alliance with the Coalition? I did, Vara said. I refused to participate in genocide. My council chose differently. And now you're warning us about an attack on our colonies? I am. The data is genuine. 3 colonies will be targeted in 2 months. Your people need to prepare. Day 1 nodded slowly. Commander Yuna is correct that you're valuable. Very valuable. We could learn much from you. Jinwoo's heart sank. But, the Admiral continued, she's wrong about how to treat you. Yuna blinked. Sir? This queen stood against her own people to prevent mass murder. When she could have stayed silent and safe, she chose to warn us instead. Day 1 looked at Yuna. We don't imprison people like that. We honor them. But Admiral, the intelligence value will be preserved through cooperation, not coercion. Day 1 turned to Vara. I'm granting you provisional political asylum. Your Majesty, you'll be housed comfortably and treated with respect. In exchange, I hope you'll share what you know about the Coalition's plans. Vara bowed her head. You have my gratitude, Admiral, and my full cooperation. Day 1 then looked at Jinwoo. As for you, Private, You disobeyed direct orders to evacuate. Yes, sir. You stayed behind in a combat zone without authorization. Yes, sir. And you protected a foreign dignitary at great personal risk, securing intelligence that may save millions of lives. Jin Woo wasn't sure how to answer that. The Admiral smiled slightly. I'm recommending you for a commendation, not a court-martial. Jin Woo's knees almost gave out. Sir? What you did was technically wrong, but it was also brave and necessary. Day One looked at Commander Yuna. Sometimes the right thing and the legal thing aren't the same. Leaders need to know the difference. Yuna's face was carefully neutral, but Jin Woo could see she was angry. Still, she saluted. Yes, sir. Good. The Admiral turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Private Jin Woo? Your friend Taeho here has been telling me you'd make a good liaison for our new guest. How would you feel about a temporary assignment? Jin Woo looked at Vara. She was watching him with those dark eyes. And for the first time since he'd met her, she looked hopeful. I'd be honored, sir, Jin Woo said. After the Admiral and Yuna left, Taeho pulled Jin Woo into a crushing hug. You insane idiot. I thought you were dead. I thought you were dead. I almost was. Hana's squad pulled me out of the rubble. Taeho stepped back and looked at Vara. So this is the queen you risked everything for? This is Queen Vara, Jin Woo confirmed. Taeho bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, thank you for keeping my stupid friend alive. He kept me alive as well, Vara said with a small smile. We are even. Hana approached Jin Woo carefully. I'm sorry. About the desertion report. I should have trusted you. Jin Woo shook his head. You did what you thought was right. I can't be mad about that. Still friends? Always. That night, Jin Woo stood in the observation deck, watching the stars. Vara joined him, moving silently to stand beside him. You did not have to fight for me, she said. Yes, I did. Why? Jin Woo thought about it. Because you fought for what was right when everyone told you to stop. Someone needed to return the favor. Vara was quiet for a moment. What happens now? Now we stop a war, together. She nodded, and they stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars and thinking about the future neither of them had expected to have. 6 months changed everything. Jin Woo stood in the training facility on Earth, watching young soldiers practice combat maneuvers. They moved through the drills with standard human tactics, efficient but predictable. He shook his head and called out corrections. No. When fighting Velith forces, you can't use straight formations. They'll flank you in seconds. He demonstrated with hand gestures. You need to move in clusters, unpredictable patterns. Make them guess where you'll be next. The soldiers adjusted their positions and tried again. Better. Not perfect, but better. Jin Woo had been officially discharged from the military, but not with dishonor like he'd feared. Instead, the discharge came with an offer for civilian contractor work. The pay was good, the work was important, and he got to train special forces in Velith tactics, using everything Vara had taught him. It wasn't the military career he'd planned, but it felt right. After the training session ended, Jin Woo made his way across the base to the research facility. Security waved him through without checking his credentials anymore. They knew him. The guy who stayed behind. The soldier who saved the alien queen. He hated the attention, but Vara seemed amused by it. He found her in the intelligence analysis room with Dr. Minji, a civilian scientist who specialized in alien technology. The two of them had formed an unlikely friendship over the past months. Minji was curious about everything, always asking questions, and Vara seemed to enjoy having someone genuinely interested in Velith culture beyond its military applications. Jin Woo, Minji called out when she saw him. Perfect timing. Vara was just explaining the Velith system of government before the coalition influence. It's fascinating. Everything is fascinating to you, Jin Woo said. But he smiled. Minji's enthusiasm was infectious. That is because everything is fascinating, Minji replied. She gestured to the screens around them showing star charts and diplomatic records. Did you know the Velith had a council of philosophical advisors who debated every major decision? Not just politicians, but actual philosophers. We abandoned that system 20 years ago, Vara said quietly. We decided efficiency was more important than wisdom. The room went quiet for a moment. Vara had been sharing intelligence with human military command for months now. Everything she knew about coalition fleet movements, command structures, supply lines, her information had proven accurate in 3 preliminary skirmishes, saving hundreds of human lives. But the cost to her was obvious. Each piece of information she shared was another betrayal of her own people, even if those people had betrayed her first. Any news? Jinwoo asked, changing the subject. Minji pulled up a tactical display. The coalition fleet is 2 months from human space. Vara's intelligence about the attack on the colonies was correct. We've evacuated New Seoul, Busan Station, and Daegu Prime. Everyone got out safely. Jinwoo felt relief wash over him. Taeho's family was safe. Thousands of families were safe. But there's bad news too, Minji continued. The coalition is bigger than we thought. More ships. More allies. Even with Vara's intelligence, we're outnumbered 3-1. Then we need allies of our own, Jinwoo said. That's what Ambassador Kwon thinks. Minji pulled up a message marked with high-priority tags. He's here on base, wants to meet with you and Vara. Ambassador Kwon was waiting in a conference room with Admiral Dae-won. Both men stood when Vara and Jinwoo entered. Your Majesty, Kwon said with a respectful bow. Thank you for meeting with us. Of course, Ambassador. Vara took a seat at the table. Though, I wonder what requires such formality. Kwon exchanged glances with the Admiral before speaking. We have a proposal. It's risky, possibly impossible. But you're the only one who might be able to pull it off. I am listening. We've analyzed the intelligence you've provided, Dae-won said, pulling up holographic displays. The coalition isn't as unified as they appear. Many species joined because they were afraid of being attacked if they refused. They don't truly support the coalition's goals. You want me to contact them, Vara said, to encourage rebellion. More than that. Kwon leaned forward. We want you to lead a diplomatic mission into coalition space. Find the dissenters, unite them, create a resistance from within. Jinwoo felt his stomach drop. You're asking her to go back? After everything that happened? I know it's dangerous, Kwon said. That's why we want Jinwoo to go with her. Absolutely not, Jinwoo said immediately. If Vara goes back to Velith space, she'll be arrested or killed on sight. Which is why she won't be going openly, Dae-won said. We have intelligence that suggests there are Velith loyalists. Officers and civilians who opposed the Council's decision to join the coalition. They've been operating in secret, waiting for a sign that resistance is possible. And Vara would be that sign, Jinwoo said slowly, understanding. Exactly. Kwon pulled up a star chart showing Velith territory. We've identified 3 key systems where loyalist activity is highest. If Vara could make contact, if she could unite them, she might be able to sabotage the coalition from the inside. Vara studied the star chart in silence. Her expression was unreadable. There's more, Dae-won added. We've confirmed that your sister Nare commands the coalition's flagship. She'll be leading the attack on human space personally. Vara's eyes flicked to the Admiral. You want me to confront my sister? We want you to stop the war, Kwon said gently. However you think is best. Jinwoo looked at Vara. You don't have to do this. You've already given us everything we asked for. No, Vara said. I have given you information. But information alone will not stop what is coming. She stood and walked to the holographic display, studying it. If there are truly Velith who still follow the old ways, who still believe in the codes we once held sacred, then they deserve a chance to redeem our people. It's a suicide mission, Jinwoo said bluntly. Perhaps. Vara turned to look at him. But you have taught me something these past months. Jinwoo, you have taught me that sometimes the impossible is simply what no one has tried yet. That's a terrible lesson to learn from me, Jinwoo muttered. Vara smiled slightly. Nevertheless, it is the truth. Quan pulled out 2 data tablets. These contain everything we know about the Loyalist networks, safe houses, and contact protocols. There's also full pardons for both of you, signed by the President himself. Pardons? Jinwoo asked. For desertion, in your case, Day One said. And for Vara, a formal recognition as a political ally rather than an enemy combatant. If you succeed in this mission, you'll both be welcomed back as heroes. If you fail. He trailed off. If we fail, we'll be dead anyway, Vara finished. So the pardons hardly matter. They matter to me, Quan said. You've both sacrificed more than anyone should have to. This is our way of saying, you deserve better. Jinwoo took the data tablets. When do we leave? 3 days, Day One said. We've modified a stealth ship for long-range insertion. It'll have Velith markings and transponder codes. As far as anyone knows, you'll just be another bounty hunter ship. Bounty hunters again, Jinwoo said. I'm starting to see a pattern. Taeho appeared at the door. I hear you're going back into the fire. Taeho. You heard right. Then you'll need this. Taeho handed Jinwoo a small package. Inside was Jinwoo's old service pistol, the one he'd thought was lost. Found it in the salvage from Kelvar Prime. Figured you'd want it back. Jinwoo checked the weapon. It was cleaned, maintained, and fully charged. Thanks, brother. Bring her back safe, Taeho said, looking at Vara. Both of you. We will. The next 3 days passed in a blur of preparation. Jinwoo trained with new weapons, studied Velith customs and language with Vara's help, and memorized the locations of Loyalist safe houses. Minji helped them prepare supplies and equipment. I still think this is crazy, she said while loading medical supplies into the ship. But I also think you two can do anything together. We appreciate the confidence, Vara said. And if you die, I'll be very angry at both of you, Minji added. Noted. On the final night before departure, Jinwoo found Vara standing alone in the ship's cargo bay. She was looking at a small holographic image of the Velith homeworld. Having second thoughts? He asked. Many thoughts, Vara replied. Not all of them second. Jinwoo stood beside her. We don't have to do this. You know. We could just disappear. Find some quiet planet. And live out our lives in peace. Could we? Vara looked at him. Could you truly walk away knowing what's coming? Knowing that millions will die if we do nothing? Jinwoo sighed. No. I couldn't. Neither could I. Vara closed the hologram. We are too similar, you and I. Too stubborn to accept defeat. Too foolish to know when to quit. Is that what we are? Stubborn fools? I prefer to think of us as optimistic realists. Jinwoo laughed. That's just fancy words for stubborn fools. Vara smiled, and in that moment, Jinwoo realized something. Somewhere between the frozen planet and now, between survival and purpose, he had stopped thinking of Vara as an alien queen he was protecting. She had become something more. A partner. A friend. Maybe something he didn't have words for yet. Jinwoo, Vara said softly. Thank you. For everything you have done. For staying when others left. For believing in me when I had stopped believing in myself. You did the same for me, Jinwoo replied. You showed me what real courage looks like. They stood in comfortable silence, knowing that tomorrow would bring danger and uncertainty. But tonight, they had this moment. This quiet peace before the storm. The next morning, they boarded the stealth ship. Admiral Day One, Ambassador Quan, Taeho, Hana, and Minji all came to see them off. Good hunting, Day One said, saluting. Come back alive, Taeho added. And bring peace with you, Minji said hopefully. The ship lifted off, breaking atmosphere and heading for the stars. Jinwoo piloted, while Vara navigated. As they approached the jump point, she entered coordinates that would take them deep into Coalition space. Ready? She asked. Jinwoo thought about everything that had led to this moment. The battle on Kelvar Prime. the choice to stay behind. The friendship that had grown into something extraordinary. "Yeah," he said. "I'm ready." Vara activated the FTL drive. "Then let us do the impossible together." The ship jumped, carrying them toward an uncertain future, toward danger and hope in equal measure, toward a war they might be able to stop, if they were brave enough, and lucky enough, and stubborn enough, toward Vara's sister and the Coalition fleet, toward home, for both of them, in ways neither had expected. The stars streaked past the view screen, and Jinwoo knew that whatever came next, they would face it together. And that made all the difference.